Hey everybody, it's Frank. I'm back with you again. This is the second segment in my newest video here, self-help series about successful behavioral change. And the one and only previous segment I've done was about finding the proper motivation, internal versus external, for that behavioral change you want to make. So let's just review a minute here. We all have behaviors and things about ourselves that we'd like to change and make better. And a lot of us wonder why we've tried time and time again to take care of these things and they don't work or they don't last or they don't take. And I'm talking about stuff like quitting smoking or losing weight or stop drinking or just getting physically fit or whatever. So again, the first segment was about finding the proper motivation, which is making sure we have that internal motivation to change, not just external things. Number two, or I should say, we could call it 1A if we wanted to, would be focusing on behavior as a mindset change rather than strictly a change of behavior solely. And here's what's behind this. So traditionally, behaviors, we try to change behaviors in ourselves and others through either a reward or punishment system. If you look at the way we deal with our children, for example, when they're small, if they're doing something you don't like, you're either going to say, hey, Johnny, if you continue to do this, you're going to get grounded, or you're going to get your allowance taken away, or whatever. Or that's the punishment type system. Or the reward system would be, if you do what I'm asking you to do, you're going to get $5 extra in your allowance, or we'll take you to the arcade or whatever. I'm using examples from my history, which probably aren't relevant today, but excuse that. So, and even with adults, behavioral change is generally focused on either a reward or punishment system. I mean, our penal system is based on penalizing people for doing unacceptable behaviors. You go to jail, you get a fine, whatever. You go on probation, or we are rewarded at work for doing something that the boss or the supervisor wants us to do. The problem with all this system, as we have learned it throughout the years as we grow, is it doesn't create that internal motivation, C segment 1, that I'm talking about. So all that does is create a short-term, quick change in behavior that probably won't last. So I'm going to use some examples here from my, most people know I'm a drug and alcohol counselor, and drugs and alcohol are something people often want to give up or need to give up. And we wonder why the relapse rate for alcoholics and drug addicts is somewhere up over 90%. I've quoted that before in previous segments. Because a lot of the treatment is focused on the reward punishment aspect. The PO says you need to go get drug and alcohol treatment and not test positive for drugs, or you're going back to jail. The wife says, if you keep drinking, I'm going to leave. Okay. While these may make you stop doing something short term, it's not going to create long lasting behavioral change. So what is the answer then? Well, the answer is we have to foster inside ourselves a mindset change. Okay. Not only should I give up these behaviors, we have to foster an attitude of, I want to give up these behaviors. And there's a big difference there, okay? If you're invested in something, you're more likely to make it last. So most of us want to change things in the short term for short-term gain, okay? Or we're worried about losing something. But when we change our mindsets to fully invest in the behavioral change, it's more likely to last a longer time. So let me take drinking as an example. I'm talking about drinking alcohol, obviously. On cue, I'm drinking my tea here. So somebody decides, for whatever reason, they need to give up drinking. There may be a lot of different factors there. There may be pressure from their family, there may be pressure from their doctor, and they give up drinking. They quit. Maybe they even get a little support through a 12-step group or whatever. But they don't really want to give it up. The odds of it lasting are minimal. Okay, because they're doing it, I won't say for the wrong reasons, but not for the most important reason, which is I want this. Okay, so person that gave up drinking, they stay sober for 6 months, a year, whatever, maybe not even that long, and life gets hard and they go back to it. It's an old story, it happens all the time. It doesn't matter if the behavior is drinking, losing weight, whatever, okay? This is what usually happens. Life gets hard and people go back to it because the reasons they've used to do this behavior, again, to harken back to step one of this, are all external. So we need to create that internal buy-in that I am going to change my attitude toward this behavior. No longer am I saying I'm giving up drinking because my wife says I should, or because my friends say I should, or that I got 3 DUIs. Okay, now those, of course, they're factors, but the main factor has to be I've seen that this behavior is negative for me, and I know I need to change it, therefore I want to change it. Okay, it's the have to versus want to conundrum is what it is. So when we focus on behavior as a mindset change rather than strictly a behavioral change, we create that internal buy-in that makes it more liable to last longer, and you're more inclined to keep doing it or not doing it, as the case may be. So if you're trying to lose weight and you're only losing weight because the doctor said, hey, you're too fat, they wouldn't say that, but, or, if you're, people are telling you you're unhealthy or whatever, okay, you may lose some weight, but why do people always go back and put it right back on? Because they don't really want to do it. They haven't changed their mindset about this behavior. And that's the crux of the whole thing. Rather than focusing it on a behavioral change, we're changing our attitudes and our mindset about the particular behavior. I'm giving up drugs for reason A, B, and C, but more importantly, because I recognize that I don't want to do drugs anymore. I don't want to drink anymore. I don't want to be, twice what my body weight should be. I don't want to be unhealthy. So, giving up smoking is another example. Like, we all know, what can happen if you smoke. I mean, I've struggled with this my entire life, this issue. You can get cancer, you can get emphysema, it can cause heart disease and strokes and everything else. Those are fine to know, but until one decides, I don't want to smoke anymore. I don't like to smoke anymore. This is something I want to stop. Any behavioral change is going to be short term. It's not going to last. So that's it. Okay, reviewing number 1 and 2. The proper motivation has to be internal. Okay, number 2, focusing on the behavior focusing on the change as a mindset change rather than strictly a behavioral change. So the next time we get together, and I sure hope you're going to join me again, we're going to be talking about, once the change is made, how we're going to garner some additional support to help us make sure that behavioral change lasts and that we can keep up with it. So again, I really appreciate everybody joining into my self-help and commentary videos. It's so nice to be able to talk to people, and hopefully I've helped just even a little bit. So I'll see you again soon, and thanks for tuning in. Check out my videos on YouTube, okay? Have a great day. We'll see you soon. Peace.